Get it done. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. It is Sunday, August 1st, at least in my part of the world. And this is the board meeting of the board for the continuing committee. My name is Charlie Quinn. I am the director of First Edition and the current chair of this board, which again just means that I host these meetings and set the agenda. I'm going to go around and have everybody introduce themselves, starting with Maggie.
Hi, Maggie Gepper, JEDZX 8 on the boards, and I'm the executive officer.
Excellent. Next, we will go to Chris.
I am Chris, director of organized play, and I am an ID draft extraordinaire.
Excellent. Next, I will go across the pond to Chirk.
Jörg, director of second edition, Jörg on the board. Thanks to everybody.
Then I will swing back across to Scott. So,
Scott Baltman, Director of Communications at Neelix Online, and good afternoon.
Brian.
Brian Schaeflein, Jeebus on the boards, Director of Operations.
And last but certainly not least, Justin.
Resistance is futile on the board, your Chief Financial Officer, and it is now almost 50 days without rain in the Pacific Northwest.
And everything is on fire. But at least it's not 115 again. And I have air conditioning, so even if it was 115, I don't care. I mean, I care because the planet is dying. I don't care because I'm a sweaty mess. So, alrighty, I have posted the link to the video on the boards. I will be watching the YouTube chat, see if we get any questions or comments there, and somebody could watch Discord and watch the forums. That would be absolutely fantastic. All right, first order of business is, I left this off the agenda. Oh, no, I didn't. Approval of minutes. So we have meeting minutes that were posted from our last meeting. May I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll motion.
All right, may I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
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 All right, the minutes from last month are approved. We will then go into department reports, and Chris is with us as the director of organized play. He has a time crunch, so we're going to have him go first, and he may have to drop out of the meeting. But we want him to get his report in first. So please, Chris, take it away.
Sure, thanks, Charlie. Obviously, organized play is kind of slowly coming out of the pandemic. The last month or so, we've had some locals that have been taking place in Florida, Minnesota, Alabama, North Carolina, and online. And if I missed any, it's just because I looked too quickly online earlier today. We've also had some regionals that have happened, also continuing online, and I think there's some upcoming ones online as well, in Austria, in Michigan, and in Germany. And as far as upcoming events, we're looking forward to the UK regionals, the online regionals, as I mentioned. Kaiser Fest is next weekend for all of us across the pond who are looking forward to enjoying some German beer from afar. That's a German national. Florida's running their regionals pretty soon, and actually my regionals are next weekend as well. So we will try to have as much fun as Kaiser Fest, but I doubt we will. And then kind of looking further on into the future, we have British Nationals coming up. We have North American Continentals in Florida coming up. But right behind that is American Nationals at Gen Con. We are actively seeking out Masters and Nationals events for anyone literally in any country or U.S. state that would like to volunteer to host those. We still have some openings for them. And we're hoping to fill them up as people continue to come back out of kind of hibernation with COVID. Those are kind of the main talking points that I have. If there's any questions about what's going on in organized play, feel free to reach out to myself directly or your local continental coordinator, that is Jules Melhart, who is back from his kind of sabbatical. He's back at it in Europe. John Carter is your online coordinator, and Michael Van Bremen is your coordinator for North America. And then anything Australia related, I'm still kind of holding on to and helping where I can. So feel free to reach out. Again, if you have any interest in running a Masters or a National, or just have some questions on, hey, how does the card pool look? After COVID, we released some sets, and the game's a little bit different than probably what you remember, but it's still just as fun. So that's kind of my report.
Is there anything OP related happening on Tuesday this week?
Anything happening organized play on Tuesday? I believe we're releasing the promo images on Tuesday, but I'll have to check my sources. Fairly certain that's happening. I know we've released some of those, teased them, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the Continentals and Worlds have not been shown. And if anybody was...
As far as I know, Masters aren't either.
Oh, Masters aren't either? Okay, well then, yeah, you're going to get a full shot. I just know that if you're on the fence right now about attending Worlds, once you see that Tribbles promo, you might want to buy a ticket. Wow, our art people have outdone themselves.
I thought Charlie was fishing for the Tuesday Tribbles.
Oh, is that what it is? He wants me to play Tuesday
No.
Tribbles too?
No, that's funny though. That's not what I was fishing for. But
Did I correctly guess what Charlie was fishing for? That'd be funny.
you
if I
did.
guessed wrong.
You nailed it. So
The Easter egg on one of the World's promos is quite satisfying also.
Might need your magnifying glass to find it, but it's there.
No, you just have to sort of relax your vision and you'll see it.
I jumped up and down when I saw that because it was perfect. So.
Well,
Anyway.
Again, I can't say enough about all the art teams. The Tribbles team, the Tui team, and the Wani team. They all just crush it. And Maggie and I know a little bit of the background where we're kind of kicking ideas around, and invariably we don't give them a ton of direction because we want to be surprised, right? The fan in us wants to see what they can come up with. And this year, the year of the Bajoran, has been kind of interesting. And we're already starting to look around at the year of Dominion, right? That's going to be some really interesting stuff. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. Did we lose you, Chris?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Let's mix it up a little bit, and let's go to Justin. What's our financial status?
It's been interesting last about 6 weeks. Been dealing with some medical stuff, but that's okay. But as of right now, we are in really good shape. Obviously, we haven't had much in the way of expenditures. I think we're sitting at like 6,000. So we're more than healthy.
Don't worry, I want to talk about spending some of that a little bit later in this meeting. So.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, like I said, we got we got large button order coming up. I imagine more promos and of course master playmats. So we definitely have availability of funds. So should be good. But yeah, hopefully the medical stuff is behind, and I can get back to other projects that I'm working on. But yeah, so not much other activity going on.
Excellent. Brian, tell us about ops.
Sure. So related to buttons, we're finally running low on those. So as we mentioned, we're going to put in an order for them. We've had about 50 orders shipped out since our last meeting. So that's part of the reason we've run low, is basically everyone is getting, whatever it is, 6 or 8, or if you ordered more than one kit, then, almost 20 some people got. So the buttons have run a bit low. Let's see, I think I've been keeping up with the shipping so far. I had 1 week I was out of town, but those have all been shipped out already. So that's going okay. Programming team, let's see. James Monson-Broughton was working on some UP changes, which, based on some feedback, he made some more changes. What else we got? Made some virtual pack creator changes. It seems like some of the 2E ones weren't exactly printing properly. So yesterday those got fixed. The OTSD pack generator for 1E was released. Trying to think what else we've been doing. General squishing of bugs. I think that's all I've got at the moment. Working on some other printability changes or printing changes, the way that we generate PDFs. That's where we are right now.
Excellent. Thank you for the update.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, communicate to us.
Been a pretty calm time of it as far as putting out fires or anything crazy like that for communications. But we had some really great articles from a variety of writers about the OTSD remastered that have been coming across the main site since the last board meeting. So kudos to those guys. Actually gave me a bit of a yin to maybe play some 1E sealed deck sometime in the near future, if I can convince the rest of the North Carolina boys here to give that a try. But other than that, things are going well. And I know that we've had some movement on the ambassador promo cards. So I want to thank Robin Honeycutt and Maggie for getting the ball rolling on getting those out. So if you're an ambassador, which is technically part of the communications department, I think, and you're looking for your promos for the current year, then hopefully they will be arriving to you soon. So again, thanks to Maggie for her hard work on that, and Robin Honeycutt for taking point.
And I can confirm they're all in the mail already, so they're working their way towards you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Brian. And that's it for me.
All right. Shark, if you would do us the honor of your report, I would be grateful. So.
Yes, okay. Second edition. At the moment, Project Diana, set name Caretaker, has gone through playtesting and is in production. It will be a 63 size set. It is at the moment in proofreading at Arts and Rules. Time to release the set is planned as today, December 17th, to not interfere with upcoming tournaments. It's a big set. From my opinion, it covers a lot of game mechanics, circling around Voyager theme, or let's say Voyager icon stuff, like cards for Voyager, cards for Equinox, a little bit for Delta Quadrant Klingons, Borg, something like that. So it has a wide range of cards and some new game mechanics. From the feedback I get, unofficially, it is an interesting set. 63 cards. We hope to keep the timeline 17th of September. It is fine. Next set is community set. It will go to playtesting within the next 2 weeks. We just have to work on the wording, make it easier on the game mechanics, but the set size is standing. It's around, it is exactly 36 cards. A little bit for Cardassian dissidents, a little bit for Bajoran, some new game mechanics, a little bit homeworld stuff. So it's an interesting set, but we have to wait for playtesting results. After that, there's the Xmas set. It's 24 cards. It's also in a good shape. And for 2022, we have projects running where Project Justice is coming from between January 2022 and March 2022 as today, and Project Shackleton, which is a set size 18 to 27 card, just about missions. So we just take care of missions. And the great project for 2022 is Weedians, where we already have a template that will be hosted with a short article for the community, so that they can have a look what Art is doing, and Art did a great work here. One of the biggest problems is play testing for second edition, and we had a conversation yesterday, and Charlie brought up some good ideas, and we try to implement them in TUI to make playtesting better. I try to do it with the upcoming set of community set, but I'm not sure if I can do it. But with the next set, we will change playtesting a little bit, making it easier, provide the playtesters with decks and card they should test. That's a good idea. If we can do it for community set, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, that's all from TUI.
Thank you very much. I will go next as first edition. So we did put out OTSD Remastered since our last meeting, and I think it went well. It's technically the second remastered set that we have done. We did Enterprise Collection a couple years ago, but it won't be the last. We have more coming. We wanted to sort of test the waters, and we bought booster packs a couple of months ago to recreate OTSDs, and shortly in a bit, I'll be talking about OTSD boxes, so we can replicate that experience for people. So that was cool, and it was really neat. Dan Madison went and found the old Card Extra articles on the Wayback Machine for Decipher's website. I know Scott mentioned this, but he reposted them and then added some modern commentary in it. I saw at least one person who wrote one of those articles came back to our forums and posted about, hey, that's cool to see that again. So that was really neat. We have two projects in sort of a race for the finish line right now to see which one is going to come out next. Project Quarantine is our little Q boutique. I say little because it's turned out to be much more dramatic than intended. When you start messing with a mechanic to make it, one of the big things we're trying to do whenever we revisit old stuff is can we get as much of the stuff out of the glossary as possible? Well, Q was one of those things where you started peeling back layers, and every time we did, we were like, oh, now we have to fix this card, and now I have to fix this card. So you're going to get 9 new cards and probably around 16 errata when that comes out. But most of those are non-functional changes. They're just clarifying errata, and the few functional changes there are make them better cards. So that's the first set that might win the race. And the second one is Project Rogue, which is the first set of the motion pictures. I was in a meeting for that not even an hour ago, and it looks like right now we're going to split that set into 2 for a couple different reasons. There's some pretty complex stuff going on with Khan and Cybok, and it's taking a lot more time to sort of iron those out than we thought. And so we have a couple different options. We may pull the Cybok stuff out entirely and release it later as a boutique set and put out Rogue with everything else. We may split it roughly down the middle and put out 2 classic films sets and then go back to the normal model for solo and subsequent projects. So it's a question of which one of those, what decision we ultimately make with Rogue, and then which one of those 2 we want to put out first. But I'm hopeful you will see both Quarantine and Rogue, whatever form it takes, in 2021. And that sets us up for the rest of Rogue and Solo and Mandalorian next year at the very minimum. So we got a lot of things going. The rules team is working hard on just a ton of projects, unspooling some of the more complicated rules. There is 2 errata going out tomorrow. They're very minor, fixing typos basically. And I think there's some rules updates for tomorrow. Balance team is hard at work at a number of the cards on the ban list. In fact, I think we're going to send a list of cards to playtesters very soon to just take off the ban list with no changes. So you can look forward to that. And things are marching along really nicely. We have a couple obstacles we need to tackle, and we got some big projects in the works that aren't card related, but I'm pretty happy with where we are. And that's my Winnie report. So I'm going to kick it over to Maggie to finish up the department reports with the executive officer status.
Hey, Charlie. So, big things I've been working on. Charlie's got a 1E new player project that's percolating in the background, and I helped him out a bit with that this month. Most of what I've been doing Trek related has been assembling the promos. So, right now, the only things left from the big box that I was sent back in May are the Continentals and Worlds promos and another 10 sets each of Series Q and Series 21 for the tournament kits. So everything else, so as we mentioned, Ambassador promos are out. Masters promos are all assembled and now in the new warehouse. Yeah, so that's the big things that I've been working on for new player stuff. I'm still trying to get to a couple of other things that some of the board member or some of the forum members have submitted as projects. So those still keep going on the to-do list to look at and don't get done on a particular day, for which I apologize, but I'll get to them, I promise. But yeah, I'm finally between semesters, so I have a little more time to do some Trek work. So that's it for me.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That is the end of our department reports. So we have a brief bit of old business. A few months ago, we changed our printable rotation cycle from January, July to March, September. And as part of that change, we promised a big update in September of all of the stuff that was printable that wasn't fixed yet. And that is going well. That is on track. That should be happening the first Monday in September, updating all the printable stuff, updating all the old promos, getting us back in order. Now, I'm 100% sure that we will miss something because that's just how it goes. But we will do our best to fix that post-haste, and we'll trust you out there in the community to keep us honest on this. But we're also, tangentially to that, we're also working quite a bit ahead on promos. New sets of promos for next year are already in the works. We're working on the OP promos already, and things are moving along. So we're hoping now that we're starting to get our shipments under control, we can get our printing and production under control and get us back to smooth promo production without out of stock situations. So, does anyone else have any other old business that I missed?
Just the one thing that you just reminded me of. If anyone out there is thinking of, running a regional, we are low on kits, so let us know as soon as possible so that we could possibly maybe order some new promo printings. But right now, some of them are out of stock because they've all been bought up. So if you're thinking of running one, let us know fast.
Absolutely. That's a good thing. Anyone else? So. Okay, let's move on to new business. I'm gonna turn off my camera. So I work for a bakery that makes production goods. So like the big cookies that you buy at the gas station, we make those. And so that means we use a lot of cardboard, and we use a lot of cardboard in custom sizes. So we at work with a cardboard vendor, and she and I are friendly. The rep is friendly. So I mentioned to her a while ago, hey, could you maybe look at making us new OTSD boxes? And the original OTSDs, I meant to grab one. I don't think I have one handy. Aren't actually cardboard. They're like paperboard. And they don't do paperboard, but I said that's fine. See, Maggie's got one. So she put together a couple options for me, and I wanted to show them to you and get the discussion going on if we want to spend some money on this. So we have two options. This is option number one, and I'll preface this by saying they made it an inch too tall. So it's going to look weird. But this is the exact replica of the OTSD box, except it's a little thicker because it's cardboard, not paperboard. Exact same dimensions. Like I said, it's an inch too tall. So imagine an inch of it gone, but the lid goes on like that. So this is the exact replica. This one's more expensive because this is a custom design. So they have to cut a die. We have to pay a one-time fee to make the die for this. Then it's done, and we could just order them in the future. So this is option one. They can make it any color we want. We can pay to get it printed. That costs extra. But if we just maybe, then it is a slightly different size because it's not paperboard. So we would need to get new covers made no matter what. The ones we have right now wouldn't fit this because, again, it's thicker. So that's option one. Option two is a pre-existing box. So there would be no one-time setup fee, but it's similar size. It's a little bit longer, and it opens like this. It's not separate pieces, but it's roughly the same internal. So this is 4x4x3, and the original ones are 4x3 3/4 by 2 7/8. So it's a little bigger, but it should fit everything just nicely. And it has the advantage of being cheaper because there's no die fee. So those are the two options she came back. In terms of numbers, and I will post photos and these numbers so you guys can look at them and comment on them. So if we go with the pre-made one, that one, so she gave me quotes for 250 units, 500 units, and 1,000 units, depending on how many we wanted to get. For 250 units, they're $3.09 a piece. For 1,000 units, they're $1.09 a piece. So a full $2 cheaper. That's these. No setup fees. We would have to figure out where to store them and ship them. They come flat, so they need to be put together, but most boxes do. So that's option one. Option two, which is the replica OTSD box, it has a $650 die fee. I mentioned that earlier. So there's a one-time $650 fee that we would pay. But then it is, and those prices were for no color. If it's colored, it's like 10 cents more. $3.30 for this for 250, or $130 for 1,000. So those are our options. The closer box is about 20 cents more a unit, 25 cents more a unit, plus the one-time fee. And the existing boxes don't have the one-time fee, but are slightly different sizes.
Does the telescoping box, the more expensive one, does that one ship flat, or is that one already assembled?
No, it ships flat.
Okay.
So, they ship flat to us, and then I'd imagine we would put them together and ship them out like this. So they all ship flat. I don't think that we would have to pay for shipping from the manufacturer because she would just send them to my work when we order boxes for the bakery. We'd have to then pay to ship them wherever from there that we wanted them. But that'd be something like I could probably talk to my boss into letting me store them in my office or a quiet corner, and I could assemble them and ship them to you like 30 at a time, Brian, if we wanted to do something with them. I'm not necessarily advocating that this is a good idea or a bad idea. I just did the research and I wanted to present the findings to you guys and hear your thoughts and hear the community's thoughts on if this is something we should spend money on. So
25 cents per box for color?
Approximately, yes. So, and it's one color to make the cardboard colored, not to print on it. Printing on it would be quite a bit more, and I don't think we should go down that route. I think we should invest in our art team and getting new wraps made to fit the new size.
Colored for the affiliation, just to color the boxes for each affiliation.
Yeah, it's just the default price is this color cardboard brown, but they have like 150 colors that can make this. Can make it black, can make it gray, can make it close to the CC green. There's choices. So
yeah, I like the initiative, and then I think my opinion is I would like to eventually do that. But let's work on let's see the post the numbers so that we can all go over it later. But I definitely like this, Charlie.
Yeah, I figured it was worth looking. So roughly, to give you an idea, if we ordered 1,000 of the pre-made ones, that's just over $1,000, $1,090. If we ordered 1,000 of the more custom ones, that's $1,300 plus the $650 one-time fee. So not quite $2,000 to buy them once, and that's if we order the biggest quantity. Yeah, so
I would echo Brian's sentiments. I appreciate the initiative. B, I think we could certainly do that. I think it gives us a different future for the OTSUs that we all know are running out of online. You just can't find them anymore. And like you said, the art team, I'm sure, could do a great job of making us kind of a new revamped look for the top of them in the future. I guess I would certainly be in favor of it, and I think that what we kind of want to do is just, if people who are watching this video are also interested, they should, let us know. We need to know what the demand would be given the dollars that we're talking about and the number of size, right? If we can't find a home for 30 of these OTSDs, we certainly can't order 250, right? I guess that's how I would think that.
But we used to make custom box tops for prizes, so this could almost replace trophies. But we could, if we only had like 30 people that wanted them, we could still maybe invest in the 250 and then give them out as champion and runner-up prizes at Worlds. Somebody wanted to see them with packs in it. Those are magic packs, so they're slightly different size, but they fit in there.
I mean, OTSD has been a staple at Gen Con for years, and with the product gone, this would definitely be. I would see using it every year at least, as long as we go to Gen Con, because Gen Con loves this event.
You don't strictly need the box to replicate the OTSD experience. You need the packs and the cards, and this is the pre-made box that they fit in.
Right. So. But as Justin is saying, it's really fun to honestly open up a mystery box. You don't know what's in it. You got packs in it. You got the remastered OTSD cards, and you're partying like it's 1997 again. I mean, I would totally do that if I were at Gen Con, no question.
Yeah. The only thing the main thing I'm worrying about, if we're talking about making this available as a product like on the promenade, is, I guess it runs under the same thing as our as the tournament kits do. So we would make the OTSD remasters. We would assemble those. Either just assemble them as cut the paper and then not worry about putting them on backers, and just we would have the same we would do the same thing that we would do for any of the other tournament kits, where they buy access to the kits and then they spend shipping, but the cards themselves don't cost anything. Or we could say the cost of the physical packs is what's included.
Yeah, my thought for the actual sealed OTSDs would be more we make them available like regional kits. So like I decide I want to run an OTSD at American Nationals or Masters, so we put it up and the TV can buy that, get 8 of these with everything in it. For everybody else, I think we just sell the box. You can buy a box of 8 boxes for cost plus shipping and print your own sleeves and make your own events. So, but there are a lot of options there. Again, I'm not expecting an answer today. I'll post the photos and the numbers, but I know she won't be watching this, but shout out to Stephanie at Columbia Corrugated. She really hooked us up, and I would love to give her this business, and I think that we're in a position where we can. Just the question is whether there's enough desire out there to make it happen. So.
Well, I think it would be fun to design an OTSD-like experience for 2nd edition as well.
Oh, that brings me. I was actually going to say that, Maggie, because the 2nd edition Premier starters and boosters are also basically almost pretty much out of stock and gone. So doing something similar for 2E, like we did for OTSD, using the 2E Premier, because it's a fixed set and something.
so that could be something that could go on the to-do list for second edition. But yeah, I mean, I have, I still have that virtual sealed decks that I designed that haven't quite made it out as an official thing yet, although they've been found. So that's a project that's been on the back burner for a bit for myself, to replicate the sealed play, because yeah, it's almost impossible to find starters for second edition anymore. They're gone. You cannot find combo boxes for Call to Arms for love or money. I was perusing Amazon looking for boosters yesterday, and somebody on Amazon's trying to sell a Borg starter for $65. So like, geez Louise. So yeah, that's something that's that can be worked on too.
Cool. Yeah, I know there's been some talk about creating like an OTSD 2 with different sets of packs in the 1E side, because like you can get Trouble with Tribbles and Mirror Mirror, and you can get Voyager stuff still. So if we got these boxes, that would certainly be a kick in the pants to do that. So, all right, real quickly, I have one more piece of new business, and then we're going to have a guest join us. I lost my agenda. Where did it go? Agenda. The 15th anniversary of the Continuing Committee is next year. Officially, it's next December, I believe. We have been doing this longer than Decipher made either of their games. So that's pretty scary and terrifying. But we should start figuring out what we want to do, what we want to have for celebrations. And I want to know what you guys want to see for celebrations. So I thought I'd open up a discussion briefly here and float some ideas so we can get some feedback and continue this discussion for the rest of this year so we can make our 15th birthday really pretty special. So did anyone want to offer any thoughts?
Well, I have my thoughts for the Best of the Virtual Era poster. Contests. I actually started working on that with asking the art team what sort of resources would be required for such a thing. And the idea, my original idea had been to make a big poster that looked like an uncut sheet that had all 3 games on it. So you do 120 cards, so 40 cards from each of the 3 games. And that goes on an 11 by 11 sheet, and in the middle would have the Continuing Committee's logo for the very center card. But Art pointed out quite rightly that A, a poster that big would be very expensive, and B, would be visually, I guess you could say, cacophonous with the mix and match of the templates. So the thought would be to do 3 posters, 1 for each game. And so my idea is to make it a contest where people submit their favorite cards from the virtual era, and then the community votes on which ones go on the posters for each of the 3 games. And then they could, that could be, I don't know if that would be something that we would make for sale in the promenade, or that would be prizes that we would give out, or, just something that we would give away to the, we would give away to the public, so for, put them in prize kits or whatever. So just, or one of the suggestions was to make the art available to the general public. Excuse me, I have a summer cold. Make the art available to the general public, and then people could just print the posters themselves from one of the many websites out there that will make such things. So it's that's a thought that I've been working on a little bit here and there.
Excellent. Well, there's also traditionally when we've hit big milestones like this, we've put out expansions to celebrate them. So if you think, I'm curious if you guys would want that again, because we need to get our asses going on it if that is something you want. So, I mean, to give you some idea, we're working really, really, really hard on the 30th anniversary of One E, which is in 2024. So, yeah, I'll start a thread on this, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on things you want to see, and we'll keep brainstorming and pitching ideas for you. But we want 2022 to be pretty special because doing this for 15 years is pretty cool.
Charlie, I'd love
so,
to do something where we could let a person who wins a contest be made into a personnel card for one or both versions of the game. I think that'd be to celebrate all the volunteer effort. It'd be fun to have at least one person, like, you know, be virtualized and put as a personnel card.
That would be really cool. We'd have to make sure that our art teams could do that, but I think that'd be really cool. You know, you just grab random background guy number 7 and
right.
Photoshop somebody's face onto it and put some Easter eggs in the lore, and yeah,
I think that'd be
cool.
great. I mean, Decipher kind of sort of did that a couple of times with fan club people and so forth. So I think that'd be a fun homage to that idea and just reference to the fact that, you know, like you just said, we as players have kept the game going longer than it officially was going.
Which is wild to think about. So cool. All right. We do have one more piece of old business, but I've had John Carter on hold for like 5 minutes. So we'll come back to the old business. I'm going to invite John in here because he wanted to speak in the public comment period. So I'm going to have him come in and let him say his piece, and we'll proceed from there. So John, are you with us? There he is. Hey, nice shirt. I have that one on too.
Oh, heck, yeah.
Rocking the last anniversary, actually. John, you wanted to talk about the role of the chair and the bylaws. So I'm going to leave the floor to you and hear what you got to say.
So this is fairly straightforward, and it's not a comment on any particular director as good or bad, but rather wild kind of inconsistencies in the ways that different directors have seen or chairs have seen their role. As I understood it, when the bylaws were written, the point of the chair was what Charlie's doing now, primarily administering the meetings and just facilitating communication if there was a problem with communication between divisions, but the divisions were largely independent agencies, and just some chairs have done that. Some chairs have been more actively engaged in the processes of not just talking to the heads of consistency of what's expected of the chair, and has the potential, especially since the chair is a rotating position, to create a place where someone may be engaged in committee work or engaging in committee work without the full context because they haven't gone back into what might be multi-year projects, etc. And so I was just looking for a clarification. There's the thread suggestions included that the chairs can watch, but really should only operate through the division or department heads or other things like that. And I just think that clarifying the chair's role, given that each of the 3 chairs under the new system have all done it slightly differently in that regard, is just something that while we're kind of settling into this rotation might be worth doing. That's all.
Anyone have any questions for John on what he said? So.
No, I will say that I was a chair who had maybe his fingers in the many pots more often than the others, and it's I would say it's valid if anyone feels like that was too much. There were times when I was involved more than I know other chairs were. There was the clause that, you know, that was part of the job, is to be essentially in everything. and that's, I think, a holdover from some, or at least it seemed to be a holdover from some basically, you know, templates wording from the original bylaws template that we worked from. And so I don't, as a former chair, I can say I don't think that is a necessary, privilege that the chair needs to be able to involve themselves in everything. Sure, to watch everything is one thing, but maybe not so much to involve themselves in each possible committee. So in that regard, I think I agree with John on, we could probably go about, just eliminating that little clause about being like a voting member of every subcommittee in the organization.
Yeah,
'cause I think
I mean, I've certainly. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think the watching isn't necessarily bad the more I've thought of it, in case you did end up with an absentee committee or something. It gives a second person to be like, okay, we maybe need to fix a larger problem, but that's the low level business stuff. Yeah, I think that eliminating that clause and just kind of clarifying the role of the chair is a long-term good.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments on this topic? All right, I would like to. I think this is a good idea. So I guess I'm making a motion to. I'm not prepared to make the change today because I want to go back and look at the language, but I think that we should make this change. So I guess I'm motioning to commit to reducing the role of the chair.
Yeah,
So,
and I will second that because I think it's a good idea.
okay, would anyone like to, all in favor? So. All right.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we will put together actual wording for the bylaw and we will get that ready for our next board meeting and get that passed. So, John, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your engagement and your concerns. So thank you very much. All right, we need to go back, and I missed a piece of old business. So I suppose technically I'm violating all sorts of rules of procedure, but please forgive me. I didn't want to do this and I don't like it. We had an individual who received a permanent forum ban, user by the name of Sandy, between the last board meeting and this meeting. And any director of the board is able to execute that ban subject to the review, the repeal or confirmation of the full board at the next meeting. This is that next meeting. Brian, I believe you were the director who acted. Would you care to say anything about what happened and why you made the decision you made?
Sure. It was really pretty simple. We have previously banned people for making threats of litigation, and there was a very widely published warning to everyone: don't do it, whether it was a joke or sarcasm or as trying to be one with your friends or anything like that. There's no wiggle room on it. We put out that warning last year. So when it came up again, I implemented that ban. So that's, I think, where it is.
Okay, would anyone else like to speak to this action and argue for its confirmation or its repeal? Okay, I'm going to do a roll call vote on this. The question before.
Is it a vote to maintain? Sorry, maintain the ban or to repeal it?
The vote here is, should the ban of user Sandy be maintained? So if you vote yes or aye, you are saying that Sandy should remain banned indefinitely. If you vote no or nay, you are saying that that ban should be overturned. So I will start with just go in order on my screen. So Chark, how do you vote? You may also abstain if you wish. So you're muted. So if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Okay. Sorry. I saying that's the same bullshit everywhere. The problem is we have made a kind of pre-justice with former sets, so I would say yes, but I say yes, but it's a stupid thing. I would like to go away from this, but we have to be consequent in the action, so I'm fine with.
Okay, Justin.
I would have to agree. Yes, I mean threats of litigation. Just the hammer has to fall on those types of threats. I mean, so I'll agree.
Brian.
Aye.
Okay. Maggie.
I vote to uphold.
Scott.
So I somewhat agree with Chart. I want to move away from this, but I also understand what he's saying about having to be consistent. But just in order to show that I don't like us banning people, but I do understand the reason we had to. I'm going to vote nay, more or less as a protest vote, because I know that Sandy and the crew that used to run the TOC, they really do like the game and they want to play it. And I want to see them be able to do it again with us at some point in the future. So this is me voting nay.
I agree with both you and Chark that this hardline policies in general rarely benefit anyone. But I understand why we have it, and the fact of the matter is that we do have it, and it was clearly violated. So I vote to confirm to maintain the ban, and then that carries 5-1. So the ban is confirmed and upheld indefinitely. However, I would like us also to figure out a way to deal with this that isn't so. We need to figure out a way to coexist. And
can we put it on the agenda for one of the next meetings to vote about that again in case people change their mind? So let's say next or over next meeting we vote about that again.
We can vote to overturn it. Yeah, the ban is confirmed, but we can vote to overturn it in the next.
Like Scott says, the problem for me to say yes was simply we made a decision and now turn it different. It will fire back to us. Yeah, I think Sandy did exactly what he wants us, bring us into trouble. And if my opinion is to say nay, yeah, so he would ask what would happen, why you say nay to me but say yes to Ben Hosp. Yeah, that's the reason. But what I would say, okay, maybe in 2 months or then over next meeting, let's vote again. And at the same time, when we vote about Sandy, let's vote again about Ben Hosp, even if it might be for some people a waste of time, but we should spend that time because Scott is right. The people want to play, and if it's any possible, we try to make that happen. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
If my one thing about this is if they're not asking to come back. If Ben Hosp says I would like to come back, I would happily reconsider the ban. But nobody's asked to come back yet. So
yeah, but that is no problem for me to say we are voting about that. We are the active part. Yeah. So we are not following what Sandy Ben Hosp also do. We make our decisions and say, okay, we are voted, you can be in. So, and then the ball is in his field. Yeah. So yeah. It is why we are all following these guys and do what they forced us to do. We can be the active part and say, if we decide we want you back in the community, or we say, okay, we change our policy when it comes to legal threats. Yeah. It's up to us. Yeah. So if it's for them, it's a face loss to ask us to come back. Okay, that's their problem. But it's not problem for me to be the active part and say, I reconsidered my decision and I'm going for that. Like Scott says, yeah, there are good reasons to do so. So I have no problem to being the active part. That does not mean if we decide, okay, the ban is revealed or whatever, yeah, the ball is in their field. That does not mean they come back. Yeah, but we did what we hand out an offer, nothing more. They still have to come back on the forum or something like that. That's
Yeah,
all.
I mean, so we gave ourselves the authority to review permanent bans periodically. As a board member, any of us can ask to that to be on the agenda of any board meeting. And then the chair makes that call. And my policy is not to keep things off the agenda that people want to talk about. So if you want to, when we put the agenda up for the next meeting internally, you can say, I want to review these bans. Them asking to come back also requires us to do so. So, and how you guys choose to vote is your business, and I'm not going to influence you one way or the other. But if Chark wants to review it next month, he's got the authority and he has the right to do that. And
maybe not next month, but I keep it in mind that
fair enough.
Because Scott made some good points, and my only reason to vote yes was you have to be consequent in your actions. Yeah. So, but that means you do not have it to do it forever.
All right. So we have addressed that issue. Did anyone else have any new business that they wanted to bring up, or do we have any questions in any of our channels? Nobody said anything on our YouTube chat, so there are people watching. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. If you have questions or things you want us to talk about, please bring them up. One thing I did see was that Ross, Faithful Reader, did ask us to make a comment one way or the other on the proposed code of conduct. And I want to say why I'm not bringing that up, because I do not believe as a board, as an organization, we have any right to comment on that. Individual members can comment in that thread as members of the community, but the code of conduct is very clear that the bylaws are very clear that the board has no control over moderation and the code of conduct. So I do not wish us to give a official position in order to maintain that separation. So, has anyone seen anything on the forums or in the Discord that we should address?
No, no, nothing on Discord, nothing on the forums.
I do see Ross said, what is the origin of the request for reinstatement? I'm not sure what that means. Are you speaking about Sandy? Our policy is that any director has the authority to issue a permanent ban for any reason in order to protect the corporation, but it requires a review at the next board meeting to either uphold it or overturn it, and presumably if the board member acts like an asshole, to get sanctioned. But, so there was no request. It was just, it's the process. So, in theory, we could have called a special meeting as soon as it happened and addressed just that topic, but we didn't. So, all right. Absent any more comments, I am asking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
All right. This meeting is adjourned. We will probably look to have our next meeting towards the end of September.